So, picture this. You've just come out on top in the biggest, most brutal war the world has ever seen. You are, without a doubt, one of the most powerful nations on the planet. What's your next move? Well, for the United States after World War I, the answer was kind of strange. It chose to retreat. Today, we're going to unpack why America decided to walk away from the world stage right at the moment it seemed destined to lead it.
I mean, this was the question on everybody's mind back in 1919. The war to end all wars was finally over, but, that peace felt incredibly fragile, like it could shatter at any moment. The challenge was just massive. How in the world do you build a system that stops this kind of global nightmare from ever happening again?
And really, all eyes were on the United States. It came out of the war strong, its economy was booming, and it had this whole new level of international clout. The world wasn't just asking for a little help, it was looking to America for leadership, hoping it would shape this new, peaceful future.
But here's the twist. While the rest of the world was looking to America for answers, America itself was looking inward. And this kicked off a huge national debate, a really passionate one that would end up defining its place in the world for decades.
The entire argument, and I mean all of it, really boiled down to these two words: foreign entanglements. That phrase just perfectly captured this deep-seated fear that a lot of Americans had. I mean, think about it. After losing over 116,000 American lives in a war way over in Europe, the thought of getting locked into some alliance that could just automatically drag them into the next one, for many people that was a total non-starter.
So to try and calm these fears, President Woodrow Wilson came forward with this really bold vision. The plan was built right into the Treaty of Versailles, and at its heart was a brand new League of Nations. This was supposed to be a global club built on this idea of collective security, which was pretty radical at the time. The basic idea? An attack on one member nation is an attack on all of them. The hope was that this would stop wars before they could even get started.
And just like that, the country found itself at a major fork in the road. On one side, you had Wilson's vision of global cooperation, working together for peace. But on the other path, championed by powerful senators like Henry Cabot Lodge, was this fierce defense of national sovereignty. Their argument was that America had to stay free from any and all binding agreements, so it couldn't get pulled into somebody else's fight. It was a huge clash of ideas about what America should be.
After months and months of this fierce, soul-searching debate that honestly divided the whole country, a decision was finally made. America chose isolation.
So how did it happen? Well, first, the Treaty of Versailles went to the U.S. Senate, and it was met with just a wall of opposition. The biggest problem for opponents was a little thing called Article X of the League's rules. They argued that it would totally undermine the U.S. Constitution by taking away Congress's power to declare war, and in the end, that fear, the fear of losing control, won the day. The Senate voted down the treaty,
And that one vote pretty much marked the official start of a new American foreign policy, isolationism. The logic was simple, right? If you stay out of other countries' business, you stay out of their wars. America was basically drawing a line in the sand and saying, we're going to focus on our own problems on our own terms.
But okay, here's where the story gets a little more complicated. Choosing isolation didn't mean America suddenly stopped caring about world peace. Not at all. It just meant the U.S. was now going to chase that goal entirely on its own.
Yeah, that desire to avoid another massive war was still very, very real, but the strategy completely changed. It went from let's all join an alliance to let's try independent diplomacy. So the U.S. started focusing on very specific agreements, things like getting countries to limit the size of their navies that didn't come with any strings attached or binding military promises.
And the perfect example of this whole new approach is something called the Kellogg-Briand Pact, which the U.S. signed in 1928. Its goal was, well, it was incredibly ambitious. It was trying to get all these nations to agree to literally outlaw war. It was this beautiful, powerful statement of ideals, but it relied entirely on promises, with no real way to enforce it.
And when you look at the timeline, you realize just how fast this all happened. I mean, in 1918, the U.S. is this game-changing military power on the world stage. Just 2 years later, its own Senate rejects the peace treaty its president helped write. And by 1928, its big foreign policy achievement is a pact to prohibit war. It was a complete 180, a total philosophical flip in just a single decade.
So what's the legacy of this great American retreat? And what can this decision, made over 100 years ago, tell us about America's role in the world today?
You know, it really all boils down to these key things. First, you have the sheer trauma of World War I, which created this massive public desire to just stay out of Europe's problems. That feeling then got channeled into a political battle over losing national sovereignty to some new global group. And the final nail in the coffin was the Senate's rejection of the Versailles Treaty, which slammed the door shut on America joining the League of Nations.
And all of this leaves us with this really deep question that people are still debating today. America had all the power, all the influence to be a world leader, but it made a very conscious choice to step back. So it makes you wonder, can a nation really lead the world by standing apart from it?